Kristi Noem posting video of Homeland Security investigators on the ground in Minneapolis, saying they are, quote, conducting a massive investigation on childcare and other rampant fraud. Their investigation following a viral video that now has nearly 114 million views on X, where independent journalist Nick Shirley appears to show daycares and other businesses that received millions in state funds with no kids inside. Correspondent Garrett Penny is live with more.
Yeah, Molly, the latest example of these fraud schemes in Minnesota are child care centers where rampant fraud has seemingly been allowed to go on for years now. Quality Learning Center is just one of the child care centers that federal investigators are now looking into. And there are plenty of red flags, starting with the sign on its building that doesn't even spell learning right. Over the past 3 years, the business has been cited for more than 120 violations for all kinds of things, including for not having proper documentation for all of the kids there. Despite that, from 2019 to 2024, the business received nearly $8 million in federal tax money, according to the local ABC station. Shirley also went to other child care centers across the Twin Cities where he says there were similar red flags.
We're just wondering where the children are.
Who are you?
We'd like to ask where the money's going. Look at that. Shut us down. Where are the children at? No children inside of this daycare center.
After Shirley's videos went viral, Governor Tim Walz's office sent us this statement saying the governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud and asked the state legislature for more authority to take aggressive action. He has strengthened oversight. Walz's office also defended his handling of the widespread fraud schemes that have been happening for years by claiming he's now taking steps to stop it from happening, including creating a statewide fraud prevention program. But federal investigators are now looking into claims that for years Walz ignored whistleblowers who tried to sound the alarm on the fraud.
This guy now is scrambling to make it look like he's doing something. 2 weeks ago, he created a position with a guy to investigate fraud. 7 years too late, Timmy. It's time that we find answers to all these questions and hold everybody accountable that has ripped off Minnesota taxpayers.
Over the weekend, FBI Director Kash Patel reiterated that this is very much an ongoing investigation and that the Bureau believes the fraud that we've seen so far is just the tip of a very large iceberg. Molly?
Thank you very much, Garrett. Well, this has been an amazing story that has really been covered for a couple years, but has started exploding more in recent weeks as we saw that some of the funding that had, some of the taxpayer funding that had gone to these groups was actually being funneled to al-Shabaab in foreign countries, terrorist groups, and also this video that went viral this weekend showing that all of these places that had been getting taxpayer funds that claiming to be daycares didn't have any children inside of them. Griff, I'm wondering, is this your path to financial freedom, starting a daycare center in Minnesota?
Well, gosh, Molly, I'm certainly not going to do that because it's illegal, but boy, wouldn't it be easy. And, you know, it's interesting in Garrett's a report there, he was talking about Governor Walz is saying that he's pushing back, saying that he's for years tried to fight against fraud. Well, really? Is that the case? Because when you trace back how this all started, going back to Ilhan Omar's 2020 Meals Act to just get money out the door to school children who might miss lunches and all these other things, you see that it was a industrial scale fraud opportunity. And in this case, you know, the fact that Nick Shirley went out with a camera, I think is brilliant because there has been very little reporting from other networks on this story. And you're starting to see now, obviously, from FBI Director Kash Patel says that it's, you know, a tip of an iceberg. Well, where are they? It reminds me, Molly, of when Bill Maloosia and I went down to the border years ago, started standing there with thousands coming across, and no other network had any interest in it. Well, now you're starting to see it, and there are convictions. And then originally, the only discussion you saw on other networks were people that were basically blasting it as, you know, racist or targeting. Well, guess what? 71 of 78 people charged in this case are Somali.
Yeah, well, let's look at how New York Times opinion writer Mara Gay characterized the Minnesota fraud scandal when she joined MS Now this morning.
There's also other scandals in other states, for example, the Mississippi welfare scandal. And this is not unique to politics. Americans know that. But of course, the other factor here is that because it looks like the Somali population in Minnesota, the Somali immigrant population may have been involved in some way, those people are being scapegoated, and that community is being scapegoated in a way that certainly serves the far right.
So, Marie, do you think that this video got 114 million views on social media because people are trying to scapegoat Somalis, or what do you think is causing the interest?
I mean, I have no idea why people watch things online, but this has been a real problem in Minnesota for a long time. The first raids by police on daycare centers were in 2015. So that was a decade ago. In 2022, the FBI started getting involved more in conducting raids as well. Tim Walz has done some things to try and crack down on some of this fraud. I would also point out the Minnesota Star Tribune has written hundreds of stories about this over the past decade. It's not a network, to your point, but if you want to really dig into some of the history here, this is not a new phenomenon. I have no idea why now this video has gone viral, maybe because he went there and was asking questions and people were slamming doors in his face. But this is something Minnesota lawmakers, including, by the way, Congressman Emmer, I mean, he's sort of like, he represents Minnesota, a district, like he has no idea what's going on. It hasn't done anything over the past decade to help fix it. So this is a problem. If people have committed crimes, they should be charged. I do hate the language President Trump uses about people from Somalia when he calls them trash or garbage. I don't like that language, separate from that issue of fraud. I just don't think that that's appropriate for a president to use.
Well, I think one of the things that, Kaylee, maybe you can address this too, this video is so interesting. It's 48 minutes. I actually watched every second of it after one of my kids brought it to my attention. And it was riveting to see someone going location to location. Groups, and they were Nick Shirley and his assistant, who's not getting nearly enough credit, is this man who's just a local citizen who noticed that there were never children at any of the daycares that were posted as daycares. So he started digging into how much funding they were getting and what was going on there. And you see the difference in how the media covers stories that they love to cover. If they love to cover a story, a major network with TV cameras would, of course, be on the ground. When they don't want to cover it, they kind of soft pedal it. They might mention, okay, there's rampant fraud to the tune of billions of dollars out of Somalia, but they don't advance the story. So what do you think? Yeah, what do you think about the media coverage now and what could be done?
Well, they're not covering it because it's inconvenient for them to do so, because A, it undermines their immigration agenda, but B, I think we're going to find that a lot of this fraud actually benefited Democratic officials. I think you're going to see that in the investigation. There has already been one report that there was a state candidate out in Washington state who received donations from some of these so-called child care firms in Minnesota. That's a problem. So I do wonder how much of this money has made its way into the political coffers. And I think this story is important for one very big reason, which is that the average American who works hard, who sends their their tax money into the IRS every year, has to go through, they have to cross every T, they have to dot every I, or they're going to risk an investigation. And you have the Somali community pilfering billions of dollars, not just from state tax dollars, but from federal tax dollars, in order to run these daycare centers and make a profit off of it. And not only that, but your taxpayer dollars has also funded their ability to open the daycare centers in the first place. There's an account on X called Oilfield Rando who's looking into the grants that went to some of these NGOs that give education courses to immigrant communities on how to open these programs. Your taxpayer dollars funded that as well.
Tommy, what do you think? Like, this is happening in Minnesota, but it must be happening nationwide, right?
Oh, they're cracking the case in Ohio. I mean, can you imagine what it looks like in California? I can only imagine what it looks like in California. Listen, now, to your point, Marie, is not the time for tough talking and strongly worded letters. Now's the time for heads to roll. Governor Tim Walz, you might have done something. You certainly didn't do enough, because guess what? The Quality Learning Center is still standing. So if a month's time the Quality Learning Center is still there or is still being funded, that is a massive disappointment, not only for Governor Tim Walz, but for Republicans, for the DOJ, for oversight, for everybody involved. You're exactly right. Republicans have been far too complacent with all of this. And why? Because nobody wants to be called a name. Nobody wants to be called racist. Nobody wants to be called Islamophobic. But when you look at at it and it's a certain community that's doing this because maybe in their home country this is more acceptable, you've got to look at who is causing the problem and you've got to get to the bottom of it. And no more endless hearings of nothing for sound bites and fundraising bits for Republicans. Do something about this. The American people are frustrated. We pay taxes every year, and we've got to get to the bottom of this and end it once and for all.
Just a massive scandal.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.